Today I want to draw a fox. I'm certainly encountering a fairy. This is to be a background for a different video on how to survive an encounter with fairies. So my fox is going to be looking up at a fairy. I'm still not certain exactly how this fairy is going to look, but I've drawn a lot of foxes, so that part should be pretty easy. Now, I don't want the fox to look too upset by encountering the fairy, but I don't want him to look happy about it. Being afraid would be impolite, but fairies could be scary. For example, there are some Russian spirits of frost and cold, who in stories would make it colder and colder, where they would punish those who complained about the cold, but reward those who refused to say they were uncomfortable. Not all fairies have these quirks. Normally I leave the lines on most of my animals fairly smooth, only giving a few hints of fur. But because this fox is startled, I'm going to make the fur rough with quick short strokes along my pencil lines. Fairies could be friendly and helpful as long as those they encountered were polite and didn't violate social norms. In places like Elverstor, Germany, people would spill milk and breadcrumbs for the fairies because the fairies could make people's cooking and brewing taste better. It's a little thing, but if you've ever done splitsies on whose turn it is to cook with roommates, you might be pretty excited to have a fairy helping out, at least with your roommate's cooking. I always liked the fairy tales of someone encountering a fairy and smiling and calling the creature grandmother or grandfather, or simply offering bread, refusing to show fear, and in so doing turning an otherwise dangerous fairy kind, at least eventually. I think I can feel the fox's anxiety. Of course, it's always helpful to put yourself in the characters of your painting's shoes, to feel what they're feeling, which is why most of my characters feel happy in drawings, because, I prefer to feel happy. That's mostly why I draw, to either feel happy myself or to help other people feel happy. Yeah, my poor fox just doesn't know what to think. Okay, it's about time for me to draw the fairy the fox is going to encounter. I think I'm going to have this be a simple spirit, leaving it ambiguous and shadowy, but not exactly sinister. Yeah, in the story of the three bears and Scrapfoot, the fox lived all alone, and he was afraid of the bears, but he was also curious about them. So he decides to do a little harmless breaking and entering to sate his curiosity. Bears in this story live in a giant castle with 3 chairs. The big and middle chairs are uncomfortable. The little one is comfortable, but when Scrapfoot sits in it, he breaks it. Now, if you're a fox that has just broken some bear's furniture, you would think you would leave, but not Scrapfoot. He decides to steal some milk from their big bowl and their little bowl. Then he goes upstairs to fall asleep in the little bed, after discovering that the big and medium beds are uncomfortable. So yeah, now Scrapfoot is sleeping in a bear's bed, after breaking their furniture and stealing their food no less. How Scrapfoot lived this long is the real mystery of the story, although he does survive by jumping out the bear's window. Scrapfoot is interesting because typically foxes are dangerous villains. In another fairy tale about 3 little pixies, a fox shows up. The pixies who built their homes well are safe. The ones who are lazy or sloppy with building their homes are eaten by the fox. You might recognize this story as the 3 Little Pigs, but in southwest Britain it was the 3 Little Pixies and the fox. Sometimes people don't even realize that the animal or person being talked about in a fairy tale is originally a fairy. Now, I draw this background pretty quickly, leaving just the rough idea of leaves and pine trees. See, it's just a hint that there's something back there. I don't want the background to pull focus from the characters of this drawing, because this drawing is meant to tell a story. Okay, I think this drawing works pretty well, so now I'm going to paint it. I use the multiply setting on the airbrush tool to make it very soft. This way, the painting doesn't interfere with the line. It won't cover it up. I like my paintings to be soft and gentle, but this isn't a very common style. You'll notice that my digital painting is splotchy as I go over the paper again and again. This is because I love pastels and watercolors. I'm hoping to get a better camera so I can make videos with hand painting. But I have been moving more and more digital as time goes on, so we'll see. I'm going to keep doing my initial drawing with pencil, however. Anyways, the back and forth movements of my painting help keep it soft and add a little bit of texture, kind of happy accidents, if you will. I like foxes a lot. When I was little, there was 10 of them living near my home, including cubs who used to come up into my yard all the time. Baby foxes aren't as timid as perhaps they should be, but it's cute and it was fun having the opportunity to see them so close. In stories, fairies are like foxes, people's sort of mysterious neighbors. Or maybe in stories, people are like the foxes and fairies watch us as the cute, naive animals that live near them. I do like the stories where people kind of just happen upon fairies and nothing really happens, but you kind of get this wilderness documentary feel as people get to watch the fairies in their daily lives. In the story of Sean Long, for example, a worker wakes up to find ladies and gentlemen around a hearth discussing the merits of different bottles of whiskey. These night visitors are dressed splendidly, albeit in old-fashioned clothing. Each of these fairies put on a red cap and anointed their foreheads with a potion from a basin and said, pick up all the crumbs, but touch nothing with your thumbs. Hie over to England." And they vanished. Sean Long managed to get a hold of a potion before the last fairy vanished, put on a red cap, and tried the spell himself, and soon found himself in England in a rich man's house, where the fairies were able to steal food and drink. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did, so that I can keep doing them. Thank you.